The US is currently experiencing a shortage of a number of different products for varying reasons. One of them, and one of the most critical ones, is baby formula. Now, we've already broken down on the show earlier this week some of the reasons that that's happening. Much of it has to do with negligence of the corporations and concern that contaminated baby formula could take the lives of more babies. But in any event, we're at the position right now where in some areas of the country, you can't find formula, or you might have to drive for hours to get to it. If you try to find it online, it might be marked up several times, and that is very much an issue. But there's a new issue that the right has pounced on, and that is that they have found some formula that might in theory have been being given to migrants, and they are incensed over that, as Marjorie Greene will make clear in this press conference.
Here's what we know. This government is failing the American people, the taxpayers and its citizens. Pictures are emerging today from the border where the Biden administration has been sending pallets of baby formula for illegal mothers and their babies, while American mothers and babies cannot find baby formula. This is completely unacceptable, and this needs to end now.
Now, just to start off, the idea that a mother can be illegal is disgusting in every possible way. The idea that these babies having the formula are illegal is disgusting, but it's on brand for Marjorie Greene. Everything about this argument is disgusting. She is there referencing the fact that there are photos of baby formula at a border facility. There's a Washington Examiner article that has gone into this. Immigrants being detained at the border received baby formula. And yes, that was at the same time that there is a nationwide shortage. So there's of course some facts about this that you need to understand. The thing about being a migrant detained in a border facility is that you can't leave. And so if there's a baby in a cell there, they can't get formula. They can't go to the store, they can't drive hours, they can't go online and order it. Either it's there or it's not. And the baby can't go, like it'll go into hibernation. Now she's not actually saying what she wants to be done there. She's not explicitly saying that she wants to see more of these migrant babies literally starve to death when the US government has the capacity to stop that from happening. But what she does want to do is get white conservatives to feel like something is being taken from them. Brown people are taking something that they want or need, and that is a major problem. You can see this photo, by the way. This is one of the things that's sparking it. As with so many things in American politics, a conservative took a photo of a shelf, and that's pretty much the whole story. No critical thought necessary. So anyway, as ridiculous as all this is, as heartless as the core of this is, stated or unstated, it is likely in America to be a problem for the Biden administration.
Okay, so this is a great story for you to understand how framing works and how lies in the media works, and certainly lies in politics. So, do you know how much of the formula goes down to those detention centers when you take the whole country into account? About 0.0001%. So if we said, okay, you illegal mothers, we're taking that baby formula from you and gave it to other people. First of all, where would we give it? Would we just bring it to the closest grocery stores and give it away to random people? What do you mean take that?
Sounds like socialism.
And give it, right? And so the mechanics behind it are near impossible anyway, but it wouldn't make any difference. It's a tiny, tiny, tiny percentage, right? And if, as John pointed out, the moms can't leave the detention center. Now, if you're having shortage issues in America, I hate that that's happening. I'm gonna tell you why it's happening, the actual reason in a second, okay? But you have some set of options. You can go online, you can go to drive further, there's a bunch of things you can do. But if you're in a detention center and you cannot nurse and you do not get the baby formula, there is no other option. Your baby will starve and die. And this is the pro-life party. You understand? Total and utter lie. They don't care about babies at all. They're like, oh, it's the illegals. Kill their babies. Kill them. Who cares? Don't give it to them. Well, then you gotta let them leave, right? You gotta let them leave the detention center. Otherwise, the kid is literally going to starve. And they say, I don't care. It's not just Marjorie Taylor Greene. There's tons of other Republicans that are tweeting about it today. Kill the babies, kill the babies, kill the babies, the Republicans say. But that is literal in this case. It's literal because they're saying do not give them the one thing that will allow them to survive. They never cared about life. They never, ever cared about it. All they care about is controlling women's bodies. I get to tell you what to do with your body, said the Freedom Party. You see how everything Republicans say is a lie? I'm not kidding. And you would all know this if the mainstream media didn't constantly call everything even. It's not even. Those babies would actually die. That's an actual issue. Now, why did the baby formula shortage happen in the first place? We did a long segment on it earlier in the week. Summarized super quick. There was a plant in Michigan, one of the major distributors, Abbott. Turns out they didn't like regulation. It cost them a nickel, it cost them a dime. That's hyperbole, right? But it cost them a tiny amount of money to fix their machines. They hid it from the FDA. They didn't fix the machines, and guess what? Babies died because they had toxic material in their bacteria in their baby food. So what do you want us to do? Do you want us to have them sell the toxic baby food that's actually killing babies? As Republicans chant, kill the babies, who cares? Money, profit, right? Okay, so we had to shut the goddamn factory down. Lack of regulation. Whose fault is that? Unquestionably the Republicans. Donald Trump said, don't do any regulation. If you do one piece of regulation, you have to take two away. Make sure that the babies are not protected, right? And by the way, why is there only 3 major baby food companies? That's why when one of them can't produce baby formula, we have this massive shortage. Because of corporate consolidation, which both corporate Republicans and corporate Democrats allowed to happen and celebrated because they were bribed by those same corporations in the form of campaign contributions. So that's the reality. Now, by the way, if you go to right-wing media, they'll pretend that all the baby formula went down to the detention centers and that it's all the illegals' fault, when it's reality, when they're actually protecting their corporate buddies who are the ones that created the problem in the first place. You turn on a mainstream media, you'll hear like, oh, are the Democrats going to apologize for sending the formula to the babies who would starve otherwise? And they'll have a legitimate debate over that.
Yeah, as of earlier today, no one had even confirmed that photo of the supposed stocked pallets of baby formula was actually at an immigrant detention center. And if you look closely at that image, the top shelf and the bottom shelf are applesauce. Only the middle shelf is baby formula. And I'm pretty sure you cannot give a baby applesauce as a substitute for breast milk. And it's Go-Go Squeeze. That's a great applesauce. I eat it. If I could produce applesauce, that would be amazing. But like I said, you cannot give this to a baby. And Marjorie Taylor Greene is suggesting to women across the country that they need to start breastfeeding again, which is something that's really difficult to do once you stop. Also, at the immigrant detention centers, there's still family separation. So babies aren't even with their mothers. The mothers there probably couldn't breastfeed if they want to. The earliest baby that was found separated at an immigrant detention center was 4 months old, and we've got confirmation this is still happening under Biden. And so Marjorie Taylor Greene's brilliant solution also ties into what Republicans are doing right now by suggesting that women should just breastfeed. You're making the assumption they have the time to do it, they have the energy to do it, they have the calories to do it, instead of giving them the baby formula. And this is suggesting that women's bodies should be used for childbearing. Again, this narrative is coming up from the right, taking away women's freedoms. Marjorie Taylor Greene is talking about this like women are at disposal, just ready to breastfeed their kids whenever they need to, and they really can't. That's not a good solution to offer as a public official.
Well, look, I will say, Jessica, as a person who shares certain characteristics with Republican men who are tweeting a lot about this, I think it's kind of disgusting that you think we should understand women's bodies. They're to be controlled, not to understood. To the extent that I understand them, they're generally gross. I don't like what I already know, and I wish I could forget it. But anyway, yeah, they're making all these claims about, instantly. It's like a McDonald's Pepsi dispenser. You just turn it on and you make the milk. No, the entire thing is ridiculous. They don't care. Fundamentally, Marjorie Greene doesn't care about any bit of this. She doesn't want to release them so they can go track down the formula themselves. She doesn't want them to get the formula, obviously, even though she would say, I think, that if we're gonna be locking up people in all of these different prisons throughout the country, that in theory, we shouldn't let them die in there. None of that or the trying to let these babies die seems particularly like anything Jesus would do, but she's the Christian, what would I know? I'm a godless atheist. What I do know is that they are running with this. And I think we have a bit of a montage of just yesterday's commentary on Fox News about this very specific photo.
Why can illegals get baby formula from border agents, but we can't get it at Walgreens? Does any of this make sense?
Of our border children, the illegal immigrant children are getting formula.
So American families, there's a shortage, but if you're a migrant, don't worry because Uncle Sam has a stash of that.
We reached out to Customs and Border Protection to find out how much baby formula the agency has purchased. They would not tell us. It's not their duty to respond to the public, apparently, but they didn't deny that they had bought it. A spokesman told us that, quote, ensuring migrants have formula is in line with this administration's commitments. So how much more is people gonna take, you wonder? It's too humiliating.
Pallets and pallets of baby formula for illegal immigrants and their families. Even as hardworking American families, we're now suffering a massive, a nationwide formula shortage.
Illegals pouring across and being flown all across America, crowding our schools, spreading illness and disease, working for under market pay. Democrats just don't care. No one is convinced by today's staged White House baby formula event either that Biden did.
Okay, so they want to know what the Biden administration is going to do about the formula shortage. So they did a whole press conference specifically about that. No one's going to be convinced about that. And the earlier clip, by the way, was part of her monologue about the formula. It wasn't directly about it. I just want you to know that if you tune into Fox News, it will literally just be this white woman shouting at you that immigrants are dirty. They're taking pleasure cruises around the country to spread disease and then work for under market wages, which is their fault. They're the bad guy that corporations will hire them for less money. And she certainly doesn't want regulations that would either punish those employers or make sure that there is a higher minimum wage that they would have to abide by. The entire thing is political opportunism, and that's it. And the final thing I will say is, I mentioned this on the damage report. If Fox News has apparently just discovered that there are some people that are having difficulty feeding their children, I'm gonna blow their minds right now. That was true yesterday, and the week before, and the month before, and the year before that. Food insecurity is a very common thing in the United States because we don't care about our people. But you'll note that if some like white family in West Virginia has kids that are going to sleep hungry every night, do you think Marjorie Greene wants to help them pay for that food? Do you think she wants like recurring payments to make sure that they can afford that? The Republican Party had been fighting against food stamps and all those programs for literally years. So it's very convenient for them to come at the end and suddenly declare that they care if babies are on the brink of starvation.
Yeah, so here's my last couple of thoughts. The right wing loves any story where there's a shortage of resources because it makes people more tribal, and their side is tribal. So they go, oh my God, we gotta grab the stuff before somebody else does. Oh God damn it, the others are coming, they're grabbing our food, right? And that makes them panic, it triggers them more than anything, and Fox News knows that, and then Marjorie Taylor Greene, that's why they're pressing on that wound, right? Now, the second reason, as I said earlier, is a distraction. Because the literally 99.999% of the problem was created by a corporation, Abbott. Fox News, you're gonna talk about the majority of the problem? No, they're gonna distract the whole country into thinking the real problem is the 0.0001%. That's exactly how distractions work. And why do they do that distraction? It's a twofer. One is get you to hate the others. By the way, calling them disease and saying that they're spreading disease across the country, it is classic Nazi propaganda. That's exactly what they said about Jews and outsiders. They said they're spreading disease and we gotta make sure we stop them because they're all diseased. So Laura Ingraham, very literally using Nazi propaganda there, okay? Why? One is to blame the others and rally your tribalistic Neanderthals to your side. And the other is to say, whatever you do not look at the real problem, which is corporations like us at Fox News. Remember, Fox News is a multi-billion-dollar corporation, and who are all their advertisers? Multi-billion-dollar corporations. That is literally how they make their money, marketing for corporations. So they don't want you to know what's actually causing the baby formula shortage. You can look it up. These are verifiable facts. They are definitely lying to you. But I'll end on a fun note. Navinix, one of our members, wrote in, so life begins at naturalization ceremony? Apparently, that's the new right-wing ideology. Life only matters if it's an American life, and maybe, and especially if it's a male, but if you're a mom that isn't American, and you made the mistake of coming here with your baby, there's a good chance we're gonna kill your baby if the Republicans get their way, because they're pro-life.
It's absolutely so backwards. I mean, the Republicans always tell us that we have to get the government out of the market, the government shouldn't intervene, but yet you blame the Biden administration for something that was sourced in a corporation. They're not even holding the FDA accountable, if you want to point to somewhere in the government to look at in this. And they're never gonna make that argument about antitrust laws in regard to baby formula. Baby formula is already so expensive because the market is so consolidated. The price went up 18% over the past year. And baby formula is just dehydrated milk, sugar, and vitamins. And it costs a family $428 a month. We see people stealing baby formula on a regular basis, but they want to sensationalize this because the Republican Party operates on mobilizing fear.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.